Hey, it's Mrs. Wagner here. We're going to do Algebra 1B plus, and it is mean, median, and mode time. So take a quick hello to my blocks 4, 5, 6, and 7. It's great to see you. I've been reading a lot in my free time. I've been reading this book on gravity. I just can't put it down. Yeah, I just can't put it down. So that's my joke of the day. We are going to go right over into this packet, which is week 3, and we're going to take a look at what we can find here. So in your packet, you see it's 2 weeks worth of work. There's 1 week, which is just learning about the terms, the easy things that I'm hoping that you already know how to do, and then moving on in the next week. So I tried to give you some data about hurricanes and how the weather forecasters actually look at the data, and they look at the mean and quartiles and so forth to determine hurricanes. So I thought that was important that you realize that. They actually realized that the storms were coming from Africa, and that's why when you see that, they're always looking at those tropical waves that come right off here off the coast of Africa. So I thought that was interesting. So if you want to know more about that, you can go ahead. The next thing that you see is how do they know the effects of different tropical storms? Again, just looking at data. So go ahead and look at those if you want. What I'd like you to do is just tell me what you thought about data collection and why you think it's important. And you can relate it to hurricanes or something else, but nothing much here. I just wanted to see if you have something you can tell me. So then we move on to the pages that actually get into definitions. So mean is the average. So to get the average, you add all the numbers together and you divide by how many you have. So in this case, we would add 7 plus 3 plus 14 plus 9 plus 7 plus 8 plus 12. When we get 60, and then we take 60 divided how many we have, and we get 8.57. So the 7 makes that equal up to 6, so we'll say about 9 would be the mean. So if I go down here, another word is the mode. You see mode is in yellow, and that means, and I underline what it means the most. So mode means the most, and we look up here at the data and we see 7 here, and then we see 7 again here, so we see 7 the most in that particular one. But in this particular one, you see 11 twice, okay? But then you also see 19 twice. So you can actually have 2 modes, right? You can also have no mode if there's nothing that repeats. So I look down at median, and median is the middle. Again, I'm giving you a word that describes what it is. So how do you find the middle? Well, the first thing you have to do is put everything in order. So if we go back up to our ages of kids in our neighborhood and we put them in order, it would be 3, 7, 7, 8, 9, 12, and 14. Then I would start to kind of cross off the outer ones. Then I'd cross off one more, as you can see, and I keep on crossing off until I actually got to the middle. So here I see that 8 is the middle. So 8 is the median or the middle of that data set. So sometimes there are 2 middles. So when I put things in order and I start crossing things off, I cross out the 10 and the 23, then I cross out the 11 and the 14. I notice I have both 11 and 13 in the middle. So in order to find the median, I have to actually add them together and divide by 2, and the answer is 12. So 12 is the median even though I don't see it in my data. So that's important. So now I come down to just recapping what we were talking about. So mean, median, and mode, they're called measures of central tendency. That's just another way of calling them in case you see that. I'm calling them measures of dispersion. They're called lots of different names. The range is actually the difference between the highest value and the lowest value. So again, you can't do anything until you put them in order. So we already had them in order. So we can say the lowest value is called the minimum, which is our 3, and the highest value is our maximum, which is 14. So our range would be the highest value minus the lowest value So 14 minus 3, which is 11. So here I want you to practice. I want you to say, okay, so what was that word for mode? So go up here and say, mode means what? And I underlined it. Same thing with median and mean. There were words that I underlined that have to do with those. So then going down here, we have test scores. We have test scores like 67, 99, 85, 99. So how would you figure out all these values? Well, the first thing you'd have to do is put them in order. So if I'm going over here and I'm putting them in order, oops, sorry about that. So I'll go over here. If I put them in order, it looks like 67 is the smallest, right? And then what do we have? We have 85, and then we have 99, and then 99. So I only have 4. So that's going to be kind of a strange thing for me to do a median for, right? I can see what my smallest, you know what that's called, right? And I can see what my largest is. If I know what my smallest and my largest are, then I can figure out something that's here. I don't want to give it away. The mode would be, is there any number that repeats? That would be the mode. The median, I'd have to add up these 4 numbers. Sorry, that was wrong. The mean, I'd have to add up these 4 numbers and then divide by 4, and that would give me my mean or my average. And my median, I'd have to go to the middle. So I'd have to take 85 plus 99, right? It's not cooperating. There we go. 85 plus 99 and divide by 2, and that would give me my median or my middle. Okay, I'm going to let you do that. So quartiles, I have a little picture of a quarter here. A quartile sounds a lot like a quarter because we know 25 cents is how much a quarter is. And we know that 4 quarters make up $1. In the same way, every set of numbers that you have, there are actually 4 quartiles or 4 quarter sections. These quartiles divide the list into 4 different sections. So how do you even figure out that? Well, you have 15 students. Okay, so you have 15 students. It's not working. Right, there we go. So 15 students. So the first thing you need to do is put them in order, which I did. And then you start, do these two, these two. So I did all that for you. And I found out that your middle was 80. So we know 80 is the median. 80 is the middle. So then I'm going to say, okay, so I have this whole first half. What's the middle of my first half? Well, 70 is the middle of the first half, and I get that again by crossing out things. 70 is the middle of the first half. That's called the first quartile. That's called the first quartile because it's the middle of the first half. And then I have the second half of data. The middle of the second half is 88. So 88 is considered to be the upper quartile or the third quartile. Or we're going to say quarter Q3. The median is also sometimes called the second quartile. So that seems like a lot of crazy things. So this is all you have to remember. You have to remember that the median is in the middle. You have to know that this is the lower quartile, and you have to know that this is the upper quartile. Okay? So you have the middle of the first, you have the dead middle, and then you have the middle of the second. Okay? So those are 3 things that you need to know. This is what we're really going to look at in the next week. This is 25%. This is 25%. Sorry. This is 25%. And this part is 25%. So when I have my quartiles, it breaks it into 1, 2, 3, 4 quarters. 4 quarters make up $1, and 4 quarters make up one whole data set. So when they talk about the 5 number summary, what they want is they want the smallest number, and at the end they want the largest number, which is 95, which we call the minimum, the smallest, and the maximum. Right in the very center of your data is your median, right, which is right there, your median, and it's right there. And then this number is going to be the lower quartile, and then this number right here is going to be the upper quartile. Okay, so then we do another set of numbers. So here's another set of numbers right here, and they want to know the 5 number summary. So the first thing we do is we put them in order. After we put them in order, then we say, okay, I'm going to start crossing things off. So if I cross off 3 and I cross off 17 and then I cross out 5 and I cross out 16, I see I have 2 middle numbers. If I have 2 middle numbers, then I want to take those numbers and I want to divide by 2. And I get a median of 8. So 8 is my median. So right now I know what 2 of my numbers or 3 of my numbers are. I know 3 is my lowest number. I know 17 is my highest number or my maximum, and I know my median or my middle is 8. So now I have to find the middle of the first and the second halves. So the middle of 3 and 5 is going to be 4, right? If I add 3 and 5 together and divide by 2, that's going to give me 4. And that's shown right here, right? And then if I take 16 and add 17 and divide by 2, that'll give me 16.5. Let me make that a little better. Okay, so what is my 5 number summary? 3, 4, 8, 16.5, and 17. So what happens in the next page? In the next page, you just need to practice a little bit. So I go ahead and give you an example where you take this whole thing and then you put it in order, all these numbers. You figure out what the middle is, which is 48. So that is the middle. And what's that word for the middle? There's another word for it. So you want to put that there. So then you find the middle of the first half. So you kind of can see it right here. So 43 is the middle of the first half, which is also called, that has a name. I show you the 51. So 51 is the middle of the second half, which again, we have a number for that. So what's the 5 number summary? Well, it would be the lowest number and then the middle of the first half, the median, the middle of the second half, and the highest number. So I kind of just gave that to you. Do you remember the other terms, right? So if you were to take these numbers, what I just highlighted, can you figure out the mean, which is to add the numbers and divide by how many there are? Can you find the mode? Is there anything that is repeating? That would be the mode. Can you find the range? Can you find the highest number, 53, minus the lowest number? Okay, that would give you the range. So what's happening here? I give you an example and I want you to try this one on your own. So you'd have to take this example and the first thing you'd have to do is put the numbers in order. So you have to put them in order from highest to lowest. Then you want to figure out what the middle is. So I'm going to take a look at this for a second. So it looks like to find the middle, you're actually going to have to take the 2 numbers and divide by 2 for that. Okay, so when you put these in order, you're going to have 2 numbers in the middle. So you're going to take both of those numbers and you're going to divide by 2 to figure that out. And then the same thing's going to happen when you look at your first half. When you look at your data in your first half, you're going to have 2 numbers in the middle. So actually I tell you this right here. So there's 2 numbers in the middle, so you're going to add them together and divide by 2. I'd like you to finish that, and then I'd like you to come up with your own numbers. So I do tell you 7 numbers, and they have to be bigger than 10. Okay, so 7 numbers bigger than 10. I do expect them to be different and not all the same number. And then I want you to go ahead and tell me what all these are. So that was a longer video than I intended it to be. I miss you guys. Let me know if you have any questions. So that was a video for week 1. I love ya.